Welcome again to part two of my tips for your oral history project. So we had just been talking about what you should do and what you shouldn't do for this project, right? We agreed that this is going to be a report, right? The final way for me to evaluate you will be a report. So when composing that report, you want to start by focusing on choosing the proper topic. Pick a topic that can be explored and that you can learn from within the space of a less than 30 minutes, about a 30-minute interview, right? You want to go ahead and set up the interview and set up at a time that's convenient for the person and for you, where you can have the least possible distractions, technology included, and you want to make sure that everything is running and flowing properly, right? During the interview, and that's around the part where we stopped, during the interview, you want to make sure that this is a fluid conversation, that you use the guiding questions that you wrote prior to the interview to guide the interview, right? So you're going to conduct the interview listening to what the interviewee is saying, and you're going to focus on clarifying anytime that there's something that is not clear to you, that you think needs, can we discuss that a little further? Can you tell me a little bit more about that, right? Did you mean blah blah blah? Follow-up questions are super important, and they will be an integral part of your report. So you should be listening twice as much as you're speaking, right? So keep up by doing that. Finally, once you have finished your conversation, and you within that 30 minutes, you want to save some time for the conclusion. So at least 5 minutes for you to end the conversation. End the conversation by reviewing what the person told you, looking at your notes and being in agreement with the interviewee that these were the points that they wanted to cover, right? Finally, check against your notes, make sure that everything is well. Finally, thank the interviewee for helping you with this project, for taking the time to help you with this important project, and also for shining some more light on the topic that you think is important to discuss, right? The person is equally important, so thank them for it. The interview is concluded, right? I'm not going to say that now is the time to write the report, because I'd be lying. You should have begun writing your report even before the interview. Why? Because the structure of your report will include, as I said, it's an academic essay, right? It'll have an introduction, right? After the introduction, you could well dedicate 1 or 2 paragraphs to discuss why you chose this topic, how it connects to our class, how it connects to your interests, how it connects to what your experiences have been with the class, how it's going to make the world better, how people need to discuss, why people need to discuss it even further, right? In that paragraph, or maybe even in another body paragraph after the introduction, you would go ahead and discuss the choice of the person. Why did you choose this person for this, right? Was it because it's convenient? Was it because the person is knowledgeable? Was it because the input is unique? Was it because this is a great connection to the topic? And blah blah blah. Discuss that, right? Have some space in your paper to discuss that, right? Throughout the paper, right? First of all, it's an academic essay, right? So it's going to have introduction, body, and conclusion, right? So throughout the body of it, you're going to discuss what the person said, right? Please do not do just a transcription of the interview. So you're going to have a discussion about the points that the discussion brought up. Discuss means review them, explain them, and question them. Why are they important? Explain. They're important because this reminds me of, this makes me think of such and such, right? You want to avoid paraphrasing the questions or the answers. Sorry, you want to avoid paraphrasing the answers and just transcribing, right? Sometimes you can hint at what the question was so that you can discuss the answer, right? You can interject a little bit now that the interview is finished, right? Did you learn from the comments? Did you agree? Sometimes you may have disagreed with a view, right? Although the view is still valid, you may not be in agreement with it, and that discussion belongs in the paper, right? Support, right? You want to find plenty of room to support the points that you're making with short quotations, right? When you're discussing why you agree that this is so important, that it's going to shine light on our understanding of gender roles, if that is your topic, in the 1990s or 1980s, whatever time you chose, right? And you think that Mr. or Mrs. somebody explained how times were different then and the minds were different, you can add a quote. People used to think differently then. And then you say Stevenson, because this was Mrs. Stevenson speaking, right? The last name of the interviewee is fine. Finally, right, and this recording will be briefer, more accessible and easier to get to. What you want to do is, before you submit, notice I haven't yet opened up the link for submission for a reason, right? You want to write this report, and then before these old tired eyes see them, you want someone else, you want two of your group mates to review your paper for you using the peer review form, right? To give honest and constructive feedback, meaning someone else will look at what you wrote and say, hey, James, I was looking at what you wrote here. It's really interesting, but it doesn't look like the topic connects to our class, right? Maybe James forgot to include a paragraph justifying how the topic connects to the class. Because remember, if your peer doesn't see or understand something, probably other readers will not either, right? So this is valuable to you. What other people say is really valuable. The reverse side of that, the flip side of that, is when you are reviewing someone else's, you want to give your heart and really give your time and analyze what the paper is doing. Try to really give it an honest read, right? Look for strengths and what the person who wrote it did well. Well, you're going to do it for two people. So what these people did that was really well done, and then give them feedback, right? Then go through everything like, you know what, I think you don't need a comma here, and why didn't you capitalize this letter? It's Stevenson. Isn't that the person's last name? Whatever, right? If it's form or content, give them feedback. Well, I did create a peer review form, which you can find under course information, right? To guide you in this process. So fill that out. I will need two of those, right? Filled out, showing that you read and that you had comments. And if you really want to help the person, do consider a meeting with the person. The meeting can be synchronous over Zoom or something, or it can be asynchronous, right? You can leave plenty of questions with open-ended answers and also a justification for your comments. So, James, I think that, this is a really good paper, and I also think that you should. And what did you mean by? Then let James talk back to you through Google Chat or whatever medium you choose to do, Blackboard or whatever, right? Stay in touch with them, right? I will need the peer review forms uploaded to your groups into group discussion board, okay? I'm going to conclude this video reminding you that we have been holding live sessions on Fridays at 3, and that the out part of the class has sessions at 4. And this is for this class in the fall of 2023. Other classes may have a different schedule. But I am always open to seeing people live or on Zoom and answering further questions via email or whatever method you want to use. Thank you again for watching. Thank you.